Good morning, students. So today we are going to discuss second portion of fourth unit. In this we are going to study two important things. One is Bohr's model of an atom and the other is valency and how to calculate the valency of an atom. Okay. So first of all, let us start with Bohr's model of an atom. Okay, now see, we discussed Rutherford's model of an atom where he said that electrons move continuously at very high speed around the nucleus. So that point was not valid because if that happens, then the atom will not exist. So Bohr corrected this mistake and he gave his model of an atom, for which these are the postulates. Very first postulate is only certain special orbits known as discrete orbits of electrons are allowed inside the atom. So very first thing was that anywhere any circle drawn around the nucleus will not be termed as orbit, but it should have only special orbits will be there on which electrons will revolve. Okay, so second point was while revolving in discrete orbits, the electrons do not radiate energy. Do not radiate energy means they do not give out energy. So here these are the four shells or orbits. They are known as main energy levels or shells or energy levels. Okay, now they are denoted by KLMN or with small n, and small n values are 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we say it is K shell, then it means n value is 1. Okay, now you can see this is the diagram of Bohr's model of an atom. In this, what is there? There is nucleus in the center. Okay, then there are four shells we have shown, for which n value is 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is denoted by K, L, M and N shells. Okay, so this was the model given by Bohr. Now after some time, when Bohr gave his model, there was discovery of another subatomic particle, and that subatomic particle was discovered by James Chadwick. Okay, that particle which he discovered had no charge and the mass of that particle was nearly equal to mass of proton, and he named this subatomic particle as neutron. Okay, now where neutrons exist, neutrons are present in the nucleus of all atoms. In case of hydrogen, there is no neutron, there is zero neutron. Okay, so there is no neutron in hydrogen, so there will be absence of neutron in the nucleus of atom. Okay, otherwise in whichever atom there is presence of neutron, that neutron exists in the nucleus. And now see which elements, which particles, which subatomic particles exist in the nucleus. One subatomic particle which exists in the nucleus is proton and the other is neutron, and these two are collectively known as nucleons. What we say? Nucleons. So nucleons means proton plus neutron. Okay, in general this neutron is represented as small n. Okay, now if we want to take the mass of an atom, then it will be equal to sum of the mass of proton and neutron, and these two are present in the nucleus. So we can say the mass of an atom is equal to mass of nucleons. Okay, now the question comes, how these electrons will be distributed in different orbits. Just like Bohr said that electrons move around the nucleus in fixed orbits. Now how many electrons should be there in a particular orbit? For that there are following rules. Okay, now Bohr and Bury, these were the scientists who gave these rules. And what are the rules? Very first, the maximum number of electrons which may be present in a shell is given by the formula 2n square. Okay, where what is n? N is 1, 2, 3, 4, or we can say KLMN. Okay, now the maximum number of electrons which can be present, that is 2n square. So if we talk about first main energy level or first orbit, then we are talking about K shell, and n value for K shell is 1. So what will be the number? 2 into n square. N value is 1, so 2 into 1 square. It means there will be presence of 2 electrons in the first orbit. Similarly, for second orbit, n value is 2, so maximum number of electrons will be 8. Similarly, for m shell, n value is 3 and it will be 2 into 3 square. So there are total 18 electrons which can be accommodated in m shell. Similarly, for fourth orbital, there for fourth orbit or fourth shell, which is n shell, small n value is 4, so maximum number of electrons which can be accommodated are 32. Okay, so this was the very first point for distribution of electrons in the atom. Very first point was maximum number of electrons which an orbit can have is given by 2n square, where n is the orbit number. Now second point is maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the outermost orbit, that is 8. Okay, when we are filling some electrons in a particular shell, then in the outermost orbit, how many electrons will be there? At the maximum it can be 8. Okay, now third point is electrons are not accommodated in a given shell unless the inner shells are filled. So it means that until or unless we fill the previous shell fully and then we are left out with some electrons, then we have to take those electrons and fill the next sub shell, next orbit. Okay, we cannot simply put the electrons anywhere. First of all, those shells will be filled which come in the first, which comes first. First K will be filled fully, then electrons are left out, then they will be filled in L. And when L gets filled fully, then electrons will be filled in M shell. Means filling of electrons will be in a stepwise manner. We cannot simply put, if I am having 3 electrons, then it cannot be done that I put 1 electron in K and 1 in L and 1 in M. This is not possible. This is wrong. First of all, I have to fill K fully. Then if electrons are left out, then I have to fill L, and then if electrons are left out, then I have to go to M. Okay, so this is the way of filling of electrons. Now let us see here, for first 18 elements starting from hydrogen till argon, how electrons will be filled. Now see, center dot is representing nucleus, and then it is K shell. This is K shell, or n equal to 1 shell. Since there is 1 electron only for hydrogen, so 1 electron is present in this. For helium, in the K shell there are 2. For lithium, K shell is fully filled and in L there is 1. For beryllium, 2 electrons in K and 2 in L. 2 in K, 3 in L, 2 in K, 4 in L, 2 in K, 5 in L, 2 in K, 6 in L, 2 in K, 7 in L, 2 in K, 8 in L. Now we know that outermost shell can contain at the maximum 8 electrons. So now if there is one more electron for an atom, then we cannot fill here itself. We have to go ahead. So for sodium, what happens? K2, L8 and M1. Okay. Similarly, we will keep on filling one electron, and then for argon it will be, there are 2 electrons in K, there are 8 electrons in L, and there are 8 electrons in M shell. So this distribution which I have written here, KLM, this is called electronic configuration. So if we are told that write the electronic configuration of carbon, then how we will write? This way we are going to write KLMN, And how many electrons? In K there are 2 electrons, in L there are 4 electrons. This is vacant, this is vacant. So this way if we write, then it means I am writing the electronic configuration of carbon. Okay, so this is the most important thing which you have to learn. Now let us come to next property. This is valency. Okay, now till now what we have done, we have done the distribution of electrons in the different shells. Now when we do this, when we write the electronic configuration, then the electrons present in the outermost shell of an atom are known as valence electrons. Okay, so this is to be learned. Just like let us write for chlorine. For chlorine atomic number is 17. So what will be the electronic configuration? K2L8M7 and N is vacant. Okay, now how many valence electrons are there? I have to see, for any atom I have to see the electronic configuration, and in that electronic configuration I have to see the outermost shell. In this case outermost shell is M shell. So how many electrons are there? 7 electrons are there. So what I will say, the number of valence electrons for chlorine is equal to 7. Okay, now from the Bohr-Bury scheme we also know that the outermost shell of an atom can accommodate a maximum of 8 electrons. It was observed that the atoms of elements completely filled with 8 electrons in the outermost shell show little chemical activity. Okay, now see what is the point over here, that if we find in particular element that there are 8 electrons in the outermost shell, then we will see that this electronic configuration means distribution of electrons. This distribution of electrons or this electronic configuration is a stable configuration. Now if it is stable, then it will not react. Okay, it will like to be like this only, it will like to remain like this, it will not react. So if it is remaining like this and it is not reacting, then we will say that it is stable. Okay, now question comes, how can we define valency? We have known till now what is valence electron. Now what is valency? Valency is the combining capacity of an element. Okay, now if a particular element can combine with two other atoms, then we will say its combining capacity is 2. Okay, now what will decide the combining capacity? Combining capacity is decided by valence electrons. Okay, now see there is one exceptional case. If we talk about helium, then helium is a noble gas. What is noble gas? There are 3 noble gases in the element till atomic number 20. So till atomic number 20 you have to learn in 9th standard. So if we move from hydrogen till calcium has atomic number 20, then we will come across these 3 elements: helium, neon and argon, He, Ne and Ar. Okay, so these 3 are noble gases. Noble gases means they do not react with others. So what is the exception over here? Helium atom has 2 electrons in its outermost shell, and all other elements have atoms with 8 electrons in the outermost shell. So if we talk about noble gases or inert gases, then there is presence of fully filled shell, and because of this fully filled shell it will not react. Okay, so if it is not reacting, then what we will say, that its combining capacity is 0. So although there is presence of 2 electrons in helium in the valence shell, but it is a noble gas, so it has no tendency to combine, so its combining capacity is 0, or in other words we can say valency of helium is 0. Okay, so this was the point which was to be learned properly. Now the combining capacity of the atoms of elements, that is their tendency to react and form molecules with atoms of the same or different elements was thus explained as an attempt to attain a fully filled outermost shell. Okay, now see what is said in this paragraph. In this paragraph, it is said that when atoms will combine, okay, when they will combine with other atoms, then it is done to attain fully filled outermost shell. What is fully filled outermost shell? Fully filled outermost shell means tendency to acquire 8 electrons in the valence shell or in the outermost shell. Okay. Now, an outermost shell which had 8 electrons was said to possess an octet. So now octa stands for 8. So if there is presence of 8 electrons in the outermost shell, then it means that its octet is complete. Okay. Now if octet of an element is complete, then it will not react. Okay. And so other elements which react, they react to acquire octet, to complete their octet. Okay. So how an atom can complete its octet, or how an atom can have 8 electrons in its outermost shell? There are only 3 possibilities. First is by sharing of electrons, or by gaining of electrons, or losing electrons. So out of these 3, something will happen in the atom and which will result in the formation of 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay. So in this process, when it loses or gains or shares, with how many electrons or how many atoms it combines, that is known as its valency, or that is known as its combining capacity. Now if we talk about hydrogen, lithium, sodium, then they all contain 1 electron in their outermost shell. Okay. Now how it will have 8 electrons? So for this, what is there out of these 3, sharing, gaining or losing? It can lose 1 electron, and if it loses 1 electron, then inside whatever will be left out, there we will see that outermost orbit contains 8 electrons. Okay. So what it will do, these elements will lose an electron, okay, to acquire 8 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay. Outermost shell, we mean that shell in which there is presence of electron, and after that nothing is filled. Okay. Okay, now see, let us talk about valency. We said that valency of hydrogen, sodium and lithium is 1. Why 1? Because after losing 1 electron, it acquires octet. Okay. Similarly, valency of magnesium and aluminum is 2 and 3. Why? Because magnesium has 2 electrons in its outermost shell and aluminum has 3 electrons in its outermost shell. So they can either lose these electrons, or they can so that they can acquire 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Okay. Now the question arises, if in some case the number of electrons in the outermost shell are close to its full capacity. What is full capacity? Full capacity means 8 electrons. So if there are 6 electrons or 7 electrons, then they are close to full capacity. Then how we can determine the valency? So how we will determine? Let us discuss. For example, fluorine atom has 7 electrons in the outermost shell. Okay, what is its atomic number? 9 is the atomic number. So its electronic configuration will be 2, 7. So in the outermost shell, there are 7 electrons, and what its valency should be? So we cannot say that valency of fluorine is 7. We have to see its combining capacity. So what it can do? It can gain 1 electron from somewhere and it can acquire its 8 electrons. So its combining capacity is to gain 1 electron. Okay. So what we will say, that its combining capacity is 1. Okay. So its valency value is 1. So what is a general formula for calculation of valency? We will calculate valency if the number of valence electrons are more than 4, then what we will do, we will subtract the number of valence electrons from 8 if the number of valence electrons are more than 4. Okay. Now similarly for oxygen, what is the atomic number for oxygen? 8. 8 means K shell contains 2 and L shell contains 6. Now what it will do, it will gain 2 electrons and it will acquire the configuration of 2 8. Okay, so its combining capacity will become 2. Okay, so an atom of each element has a definite combining capacity, and that definite combining capacity is called valency. Okay, now let us see this chart here. This is to be learned and it is very easy. You just need to learn the atomic numbers. Okay, so atomic numbers are, first of all you should know what are the 18 elements. First 18 elements: hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine and argon. These are first 18 elements placed in the increasing atomic number order. Now what will be their electronic configuration? See, we have to see here. Atomic number is this. So for 1, K shell contains 1. For 2, K contains 2. For 3, K contains 2 and L contains 1. So similarly, we will move ahead and we are going to get like this. This is the electronic configuration. Now we will see how many valence electrons are there. Okay. Now what are the valence electrons? Those electrons which are present in the outermost shell. So hydrogen contains 1 electron in its outermost shell, so its valency value becomes 1. Okay. Similarly, helium contains 2, but there is exception. This is a inert gas. This is an inert gas, so it does not combine. It is a noble gas. Noble gases do not combine, so its combining capacity value is 0. So its valency value is 0. Okay. Similarly, we can move till 4. Till 4, whatever is the valence electrons, that becomes the valency. Okay. After 4, what happens? The number of electrons become 5, 6, 7, 8, like that. Then what happens? We have to subtract the number of valence electrons by 8. In case of nitrogen, the valency value comes out to be 8 minus 5 equal to 3. For oxygen, 8 minus. Okay, so for, okay, now when we come for those atoms where the number of valence electrons are more than 4, then what we do, we subtract the number of valence electrons by 8. So for nitrogen it comes out to be 3, for oxygen 2, for fluorine 1, and again neon is noble gas, so for this it is 0. Now in some cases, just like here, if you see this phosphorus, then in case of phosphorus it has valency of 3 as per rule, but it also shows valency of 5. It means that it can combine with 3 atoms also, and it can combine with 5 atoms also. Its combining capacity is 3 also and 5 also. It depends on the situation. It depends on the conditions which are given to phosphorus. Its 3 electrons which are present in the outermost shell, they can also combine, and it's all 5 electrons, they can also combine. Okay, so this is one exceptional case which you have to remember. Otherwise, in general, what is the rule? Those elements for which valence electrons are till 4, that valence electron number will be the valency, and for which the number of valence electrons are more than 4, for that the valency is calculated by 8 minus total number of valence electrons. Okay, now whatever we have discussed, on the basis of that you have to learn these home assignments and you have to solve it. Okay, thank you.